Hola amigos, and welcome to another video. And if you're planning a road trip here in Spain, this is the video for you. If you're going to be hiring a car, driving your own car here in Spain, I'm going to share some tips and some important road rules that you need to know before driving here. So let's get into the video. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that driving here in Spain can be a very pleasant experience indeed. The roads are good in the majority of cases, and there are plenty of very nice scenic routes that will take your breath away. But it pays to know the rules of the roads, and that's what we're going to look at today, as I said. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is speed rules and regulations. Now, it depends what type of road you're on as to what the speed is going to be. For example, in my local neighborhood here, the maximum speed limit in built-up areas is 30 kilometers an hour, but in some cities and towns in Spain, the minimum in built-up areas will be 50 kilometers an hour. When you're driving on a country road, not a motorway, just a normal country road, the maximum speed will be 90 kilometers an hour, but sometimes it can go down to 80, so pay attention to the signs. And when you get onto a motorway, which is what we will do in just a moment, the maximum speed limit is 120. So those are the main speed limits in Spain currently. Now, another thing I want to talk about is roundabouts. We're coming up to a roundabout now. You can find single lane roundabouts, 2-lane roundabouts, 3-lane roundabouts, even 4-lane roundabouts, so it can get complicated. Here we've got a 3-lane roundabout. I'm going to stop and give way here. Just make sure that the cyclists are not coming up on my left. Now, I'm going to get into the middle lane here, which will show that I'm not going to leave at this exit here. I'm going to leave at the next exit. So I'm going to go into the outside lane and exit the roundabout, and that is what you are legally required to do. A lot of people don't do that, and there's a lot of crossing over, and sometimes roundabouts can be complicated here in Spain, so keep that in mind. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is alcohol limits here in Spain. In recent years, the police here have got very strict as far as drunk driving is concerned, and you will see controls all over the country, the police stopping people and checking their alcohol limit, their blood alcohol limit. Normally this is done by the civil guard, especially if you are outside an urban area, but inside urban areas these controls are done by local police, so different types of police forces can carry out these alcohol checks in this country. Now, the maximum limit of alcohol that you can have in your blood is 0.5 grams per liter of blood, and if you are a new driver it is 0.3 grams per liter, and that also applies to professional drivers, people that drive for a living. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is refueling and rest stops here in Spain. Normally on a motorway like this one here, every 10 or 15 kilometers you will find a refueling station or a rest stop. We can see that there is a sign here telling us that there's one in 750 meters, and every 10 or 15 kilometers on a road like this you will find a place to stop, refuel your car, and also rest, have a coffee, have a bite to eat, whatever you like. However, on secondary roads here in Spain, these rest stops might not be so frequent, so take that into consideration. And also on paid toll roads, you won't get the same frequency of petrol stations or rest stops as you get on non-paying motorways in this country. As we can see, we have a petrol station and also a restaurant where you can grab a bite to eat as well. So very convenient when you're driving on the motorways and other roads here in Spain. Now, the next thing I'll talk about is toll roads here in Spain. Depends on the area that you're driving in, whether or not there will be more or less toll roads. Here in Madrid, we don't really have a lot of toll roads. I'm currently entering a toll road just to show you guys what the experience is like. Now, when it comes to paying tolls, it is the responsibility of the driver. You can stop and pay at the booth with your card or in cash normally, or you can get a device that will pay the tolls automatically, which is what I have. And one advantage of toll roads in many parts of the country is that they are not going to be as congested as the free roads. Locals here normally don't like paying tolls unless there's a traffic jam on the other alternative road, and as we can see, you drive fairly car-free on a lot of toll roads in this country, so that's a pro. Now we're coming up to the pay station. Very important to keep in mind that if you're not paying with one of these, you need to go to the right side. If you've got one of these, to the left, because I'll show you what happens here now. So as I said, if you're paying by cash or card, go to the paying booths on the right side of the toll gates, and if you've got one of those devices, to the left. Now, should your car break down here in Spain, let's hope that that never happens, but if it does happen, you'll need to know about the emergency kit that all cars here in Spain must have, and they're normally located in the boot or the trunk of the vehicle. This car here, for example, has an emergency kit. I'm going to bring it out and show you exactly what it contains. So as we can see here, this is the typical emergency kit that you will find in most vehicles. It could vary because there have been some changes to the law in recent times, but fundamental is this thing here, the yellow vest that you need to put on should you break down on the side of the road. If you want to hop out of the car, this is mandatory. Also, you will find these things here, which are triangles. You have two sets of these, 1 and 2, but these are not obligatory anymore. As of 2023, so a couple of years ago, these triangles started to be phased out to be replaced by a V16 emergency beacon. So most likely your hire car will either have the triangles or the V16 emergency beacon. Fairly simple how those things work. The beacon goes on top of the car, turns on, and shows people that you have broken down. If you don't have the beacon, you only have the triangles. The idea is to place the triangles in front of the car and behind the car to warn people that you have broken down. But as I said, fundamental before you hop out of the car that you put on this yellow fluorescent jacket. Now, I'm currently in Spain's biggest city, Madrid, and the next thing I want to talk about is parking. Fortunately, it's not as difficult as it used to be to park. And as we can see, on-street parking here, quite simple, plenty of spaces nowadays because you have to pay. Now, there's two types of systems in most cities. You've got green and you've got blue. Now, I've found a blue parking, which is the cheapest one, and I'll explain the differences in just a moment. So we're all parked up in a blue zone. You can park in the blue zones in big cities here. You can park in the green zones. Green zones are also for resident parking, and the time limit is also less than it is in the blue areas, if that makes sense. Basically, you can park in a blue area here for up to 4 hours, I believe, and in a green area, only 2. Now, we've got to get a ticket. There are 2 ways that you can do that. I've got an app on my phone, so it's fairly simple. I'll show you guys here the process. You go into the app and the GPS will tell you exactly where you are. You choose the type of parking you want on the street. So we choose that. We make sure that we are in the correct area, Estrella, so I check that there. I confirm. I choose the car that I'm driving in. The next thing here, now all I have to do is choose the area that I'm parking in. I'm in a blue area, so I'll click that one there, next. And then of course, how long you will be parking for. 2 hours, let's say, next. And then all you have to do is pay for the ticket. Simple, right? However, if you don't have an app, you'll have to get the ticket out of a machine like this one here. So on-street parking here in Spain, as you guys just saw, not that difficult, especially in big cities here in Spain nowadays. But if you don't want to deal with on-street parking and you just want to park your car in a parking lot, you can find those too, but they're going to be a lot more expensive than parking on the street. So take that into consideration. Now, while we are stuck here in this traffic jam moving at snail's pace, I thought I would speak about speed cameras. As we can see over there, there is a warning sign telling us that we're coming up to a speed camera. Control de velocidad por su seguridad. For your own safety, there is a speed camera coming up, and these things are all over the country. But the good news is, as we just saw there are signs telling you where these speed cameras are. Now, there are 2 types. There are fixed speed cameras like the one one that we have up here, which normally sit just above the motorway and get you as you go through. And there are also mobile speed cameras now in use around Spain, and those are the most difficult ones because you don't know exactly where they are. But they also tell you that they are about, so you'll see the sign saying mobile speed cameras in use, so be careful. And when you go through a speed camera like this one here, 120 kilometers an hour is the limit. Try not to get caught because the fines can be hefty, and if you do get fined by one of these speed cameras, if you pay quickly, you get a reduction in the fine, so that's a pro. Now, another thing that you need to know about when driving here in Spain is bicycle lanes. As we can see, the part there in red is a bicycle lane going all the way up this street here. On the left is the bicycle lane, and we have a cyclist in front of us there who's not respecting the bicycle lane, but it doesn't matter. You always have to give way to cyclists. Now, bicycle lanes here in Spain will look different depending on where you are. Where I am currently, this is what they look like. So the bicycle lane is on the left, and we also have the roundabouts that go around. The bicycle lane goes around the roundabouts, which we'll see in just a moment. But in some other towns and cities here in Spain, the bike lanes could look completely different, so you'll need to take that into consideration. So for example, here the bike lane goes on to the central strip of the road here, so it takes a completely different shape. So as I said, cyclists have priority over cars at all times here. And even if you see a cyclist not in a cycle lane, let's say for example the cyclist is on this road here, you must give a certain distance between the car and the cyclist when you overtake. And I think that specific measure is 1.5 meters, but don't quote me on that. I think 1.5 meters. Now, another rule when it comes to driving here in Spain, and it's probably similar to where you come from, is that you cannot drive and use your mobile phone at the same time, which makes sense, right? Because it's a very, very dangerous thing to do. You will see people driving and sending text messages. You'll see people driving and speaking like this. You will see people driving and using their phone here in Spain, but it is illegal. And it's also illegal to drive with headphones in. So if you've got your Apple EarPods in your ears, or any other type of EarPods for that matter, it is illegal, and the police will stop you if they see you and give you a fairly hefty fine. Lots of drivers nowadays will have their phone in some type of holding device close to where they are in case they're using the GPS or something like that. But be careful not to manipulate your phone when you're driving, because the police can pick you up on that as well. Now, another thing we need to talk about when driving here in Spain is restricted areas in some cities. For example, Barcelona, Madrid, other big cities here in Spain might have a restricted area that you can't drive into unless you have a certain type of car. And basically, unless you have an electric car or a hybrid car, you won't be able to enter some areas of big cities here. And this sticker here that you will see on windshields here in Spain will determine whether or not you can drive into certain areas in cities. The car that I'm driving currently is a hybrid model, so I have an eco sticker, and that means that I can enter low emission zones areas in cities here in Spain. But the sticker that you have on your car might not allow you to do that. And basically, the type of vehicle that you have will determine the type of sticker on the windscreen. And the classification of stickers is as follows. You have the yellow B sticker, which you will find on old gasoline model cars and also some diesel model cars. You have a C sticker, which is a green sticker. That's also on both diesel and gasoline type vehicles. You have the blue 0 sticker for 100% electric cars. And then you have the eco sticker, which you will find on hybrid cars and also cars that have been converted to gas. And as I said, the type of sticker that you have on your car will determine whether or not you can enter some parts of big cities and towns here in Spain, so keep that in mind too. So there we go, some rules and tips on driving here in Spain. I hope you have found them useful. If you're planning a trip to this country, thinking of hiring a car or maybe bringing your own vehicle down, you never know, you could save yourself some money by avoiding some of those fines that I pointed out in the video. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. If you have anything that you would like to add to the conversation today, any more rules or tips that you can give people driving here in Spain, Spain, the comment section is the place for you. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego from Spain.